What is up, guys? Welcome to my trailer breakdown for The Flash Season 5, Episode 22, titled Legacy, which is actually pretty cool because the season finale of The Flash Season 5 actually has the same title as the premiere episode of Arrow Season 5, which is a Legacy, which I think is pretty cool, either coincidence or maybe it was on purpose. But anyway, that doesn't really matter. Let's watch the trailer and then break it down.
Ready for this nightmare to end? We're not gonna let metahumans die.
This is all my mistake, and I'm not gonna make another one.
You took my family away from me. Now watch me take yours.
So based off this trailer, we could see that Cicada is clearly still alive, a threat, and still has her lightning dagger, which honestly, all three of those things are pretty surprising. Like, I honestly expected them to defeat her, or kill her, or at least, like, defeat her in the penultimate episode of the season. Based off the set photos, I thought that Reverse Flash would just fully replace her as the season's main villain in the end, but it turns out she is still around in the season finale, and Team Flash has to face a dilemma, which is, do they destroy the lightning dagger, but that will in turn let Reverse Flash out, or do they not do that? Reverse Flash stays in whatever place he's in the future, and also Cicada is still a threat. Obviously, we know that they are going to choose to defeat Cicada because we know that Team Flash will go up against Reverse Flash. We know that based off the fact that will be so anticlimactic if they don't. There are set photos that show the two facing off, and there are promotional photos as well showing the Flash and the Reverse Flash going head to head, and the Reverse Flash just showing up for, like, in front of the entirety of Team Flash. So we know the decision they have to make, which is, one, either destroy the dagger and let Reverse Flash out, or let Cicada go and Reverse Flash stays in his prison. They're going to choose to destroy the dagger and then deal with Reverse Flash afterwards, which makes sense because, again, if they didn't do that, it would be incredibly anticlimactic, and it also probably would be very out of character for the superheroes that they are. It just wouldn't make any sense to either let a serial killer go or not destroy her primary weapon that inhibits them from stopping her. So I do think that probably like 15 minutes into the episode, they are going to destroy the dagger, and after that, Cicada is going to be defeated, and Reverse Flash will fully take over as the main villain of this episode. But again, it's pretty surprising that she's in this episode at all, and it's pretty surprising that Reverse Flash is not going to take over as the main villain of the season entirely, and that she's in the season finale. The trailer keeps on cutting between the future and the present day, between Cicada and Reverse Flash. We see the prison guard in the future, pulling a lever that will probably be the thing to electrocute Reverse Flash and kill him. And I'm guessing there will be a moment like that will happen right while they are shooting the dagger. So once they do, the second they do, it'll cut back to the future where you see the dagger just either disappear or explode, and then Eobard Thawne will go free. Although I don't really understand how the time travel works there, because if they do destroy the dagger in the past, then Eobard Thawne should probably, he could just go free way before this. Like, the dagger should disappear from before he even got caught, so they never are able to dampen his powers, or if they do, they find a different way to do so. So I guess the plan, there's a couple flaws on how the time travel there works, but in the end, I'm glad that Reverse Flash is returning, and I'm guessing that the minute they destroy the dagger and either kill or defeat Cicada, Reverse Flash will get free, and that will be a new threat they have to deal with, either in this episode alone, or maybe even in the entirety of Season 6. Maybe he will just roam free for that season, and he will have an entirely new plan that he set up in the season as well. That would honestly be pretty cool to watch. So in the end of the trailer, Cicada is using her powers to subdue both Excess and the Flash, and it cuts to the Flash screaming no, as it seems like Cicada is about to kill Excess. Now, there are a lot of people saying that Excess will possibly die in this episode, which I think would make sense, because after this whole storyline of Reverse Flash and Cicada, after they defeat Cicada, there would be absolutely no reason for her to stay around in the future, in the present day, because there's no reason for her to, and that makes no sense. So she probably would return to the future anyway. So it's possible she will die in this moment, but honestly, I don't think she will. I don't think she's going to die at all on this show. I think she's just going to return to the future, because it would be incredibly sad and incredibly tragic for the future, not really born yet daughter of the Flash to die in front of him. Like, if he, while creating her and while Iris gives birth to her, they know when and where and how she's going to die, I think that would be incredibly tragic and dark. I think a little too dark for this show. So either Nora goes out and dies and she becomes kind of a time remnant, and Barry and Iris either never have a daughter or have like a son instead, or maybe a daughter later. I don't really know. Or maybe I think it's more likely that she just doesn't die. She definitely doesn't die in this moment when they're fighting Cicada, because all the promotional photos and also the set photos between the Flash XS and Reverse Flash, they seem to be happening after they destroy the dagger and after they get rid of Cicada as a threat, and then they go up against Reverse Flash, and XS is in all of those photos, so she will not die, at least in this moment, but it's possible she will die later because of another set photo where we see Iris crying in Barry's arms. So obviously this photo with Iris crying in Barry's arms, and Barry looks pretty shocked and sad as well, they show that if somebody's not going to die, something is going to happen to somebody, and based off this photo, it's probably to Nora. Now again, it's too tragic in my opinion. It's too sad for Nora to die, and then for Barry and Iris to have that kid knowing when and where and how they're going to die. So again, I think she's going back to the future, which is possibly why Iris is crying, because Nora is going back to the future. Then there are certain other characters who I think are possibly going to die in this episode, because there's only been one season where the season finale where nobody died, one season where there wasn't a big death, and that was season 4, which is not exactly anybody's favorite season or most people's favorite season, but I don't think it's due to the fact there's no deaths, but usually there is a death at the end of the season, and I feel like the season will continue that trend. I already said that Nora is the character who I do not think will die, but that leaves the death open for a couple other characters. Throughout the season, I've said a lot of characters who could leave the show or die in this season, those characters being Nora, Cisco, Caitlyn, Joe, and Sherlock, and I think one of these 5 is going to die. Obviously, I don't think Nora will. Sherlock, I don't think will, because they've already killed off a Harrison Wells before, and it didn't really have an impact, and I don't think this one will have an impact either, because they can just replace him, and I don't think it will just do that again. It just wouldn't be satisfying for end of the season death, and no Harrison Wells would ever be satisfying for an end of the season death. Then there is Joe West, who I also don't think they will kill off, because he was in and on and off this season. He didn't really get that much screen time, so that leading up to a death, it just doesn't feel right. But at the same time, it's very possible he will, because other than the pep talks that he has with Barry, which are easily the best pep talks on this show, he doesn't really bring anything to the show at all, so he might die. As for Caitlyn, I feel like everything they wanted to do with the character, they did in this season, and there's nothing left to do. They brought out a new villain that's a personal villain in the Icicle, her father, and they killed him off after redeeming him, and they resolved any sort of conflict she had with her mother, and now that all of that is over, there's really nothing left to do with the character, which is why I think Caitlyn could possibly die in this episode, or possibly leave the show. That being said, I think the most likely character to either die or leave the show is Cisco Ramon, aka Vibe, who this season has desperately been trying to set up as him departing from the show as a reality that will happen. They are given this whole storyline where he does not want to be Vibe anymore. They created a metahuman cure to give him the ability to get rid of his superpowers, and they gave him a girlfriend to set up some sort of departure with that said girlfriend, either to make that a death for him more tragic, or more likely for him to just leave the show. So I think it's possible that one character will leave the show and one character will die, making it so that 2 characters leave the show, and as for who those characters will be, I think Nora will leave the show and Cisco will die. That's just my prediction for the episode, and we will see once it comes out in just like a couple days. Last thing I want to talk about is, very shortly, this picture of Grant Gustin in the Flash costume, the new Season 5 costume, which I feel like they've augmented quite a lot this season. Obviously, they've changed the mask very, very much, as it used to not fit his face at all, and now it fits it a lot better, but I think they've kind of changed the color of the suit, and it looks really, really good in this photo. Like, everything about the suit looks great in this photo. It's still not the best suit on the Flash, as the Season 4 suit was a lot better, but I got used to this suit quite a lot. Everything except except for the mask and just the lack of a chin strap and the fact that the mask looks detached from the costume. Those two things really bother me in this costume, but everything else I think looks really, really good, and I'm pretty sure I heard Grant Gustin somewhere say, or I heard somewhere that Grant Gustin said that the chin strap will be returning in season 6, so I guess he just got a season off from the restraints, the physical restraints that is a chin strap, and they're going back to that, which I'm glad they are because it just looks so much better. But I will say this costume definitely looks really good at times, like in this photo. But anyway, in the comments down below, let me know your thoughts about this episode. Are you excited for the showdown between Team Flash and Cicada? Which I'm not really, but I am very excited for the showdown between Team Flash and Reverse Flash, which we know will be happening. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you like this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.